Hello my felting friends. This year I thought we'd have a bit of variety and do a few different things along with the paintings just to keep everything fresh and lively. And the first one we're going to have a go at is a coaster. I actually thought this was going to be a lot of fun and I've really enjoyed it, and I'm going to make lots more. What I've got here is I'm just showing you, I've had a coaster which I decided to use as a base. So all I've done is draw around it so I get some felt the same size. You don't need to have the felt. But what I also did was cut myself a little cardboard template, as you can see here, and just glued it together. The template's about 3/4 of an inch high. It's just to protect my fingers. So you can make this obviously whatever size. If you've got a coaster you can use to just wrap a piece of cardboard around and do it that way, then it's fine. I can't give you measurements because obviously it depends what size coaster you want. But what I've done, you don't need to have a base felt. You could do this straight onto the thing and onto your felting mat and keep pulling the wool up. But I want to end up with something that's about 1/4 of an inch thick. So, and I just thought it was easier having, as I've already got the background felt to use, that's what I'm using. But here I'm just building up whatever colour you want on the background. We'll do 2 or 3 different ones this year, so hopefully we'll end up with a set of 4 coasters by the end of the year. If you're following my design, obviously this is it's a basic blue. I haven't mixed anything, and this is just a green I've got that I'm using as a base. But what I'm going to do is I found that you needed to do is felt it really well. We're going to end up with quite a firm coaster, which is what we're going for. And all the time, every time I do anything different to this coaster as I'm making it, I just felt the whole thing. I don't just felt the little area that I'm working on, because I want to get it to be about 1/4 of an inch thick. I'm sorry, I don't know the metric. I'm still old-fashioned. It's about 1/4 of an inch thick and really, really firm. I use this to make sure I keep it going in a round shape. But you can see what I mean. You can get some nice neat edges this way. And if you think you can felt needle, if you feel confident in being able to felt it round and you don't need this template, then obviously go ahead. Or if you don't want it round, you just want a random shape, then you don't obviously need that little template thing. I'm just checking how firm it's coming up, but it's still too squishy at the moment. Because the other thing with the template as well for me is that when I end up with my 4 coasters at the end of the year, they will all be basically the same size. And I keep working around the edges, so I'll keep knitting up the edges as well. It's quite important. And here I'm just tucking in the loose bits. I'm just trying to keep it tidy, really. Don't pull too hard on this when you pull it over, because you'll distort your coaster out of shape. If you look in a minute when I'm doing this edge or one of the green bits over, I pull it a little too tight and it's got a bit of a dent, but I fill that in later. It doesn't matter. It's not the end of the world. It's just I'm literally just gently tucking it over. But if you've done this without the backing felt, just turn it over every so often and felt the other side. You just want to get everything compacted down. So you, like I say, you don't need the base. You don't need the felting base that I used. I picked up the cork things in bases in just the local craft shop, which is quite good. I think I've got 10 in a pack, so I've got plenty. So felt it till it's quite firm. You just need to remember, you can see how dense it's looking now, that obviously we're going to felt on top of it as well. But I'm again just going around the edges, making them tidy. I didn't I should have, and I didn't measure for the picture that I'm doing for you, how high up the green bit went, so I had to alter that in a little while. I made it a little too high, but it doesn't matter, I can change it. And as usual, the drawing for this coaster, if you want to use it, is free. It's linked in the description box below. Yeah, see, on this very bit here, I pull it in a little too tight. You can see a slight dent, but I go back in later and we can just fill that in. It will never show up. Now I'm just showing you how I do it so everything's the same. But again, you can freehand this. I'm just showing you what to do if you're not a confident drawer or anything. You can see here the green's a little too high, so I can change that in a minute. Doesn't really matter in the end. This is a lovely beginner project as well, to get you used to felting without having to felt a big area. I really enjoyed it. So we're going to have quite a few different little things over the year I've got planned. And because it's done in wool, it's antibacterial and all that sort of thing. And I did think about what will happen if you, to rest your cup on it and it's stained in things. And I've done a bit of research, and you can test this out for yourself, but you can buy sprays that you can spray onto wool to waterproof clothing, things like that. So you could try that. But also, you can give it a gentle wipe over. If you go to wash this, obviously if you have a backing on it, you'd have to think about washing it anyway, because you don't want to damage your backing. But if you were to just wash it, then you will end up felting it like a wool jumper would felt, and it will shrink and go out of shape a bit. So you don't want to get it soaking wet, you just would want to wipe over the area. Which is why I've done, on this one especially, I've made it darker, because I thought, should you have an accident and a drip on it, then it won't show up so much. Whereas if I do, I'm going to do some others that are a bit lighter in colour later on. But I was thinking about, if you happen to get a stain on it, so you could do these and just keep the outside area darker, and then do something lighter in the middle like I've done here. And then it shouldn't come to too much harm if you do get a bit of a mark on it. But they're quick enough to make. You could probably make yourself another one if you have a big accident with it. This is only a couple of hours to do. It's like working with a jigsaw puzzle. But I've been trying to think of things that keep within the picture that I make, that felting pictures, and what I could make that was a little different but still felting pictures, which is what I came up with the coasters for. I do have another project in mind which I'm going to start for this month of January, which will come up later on, and that's going to be an ongoing project over the next 12 months up to Christmas. Here I just keep felting, keep going over the whole thing. You want to keep firming it up. And I haven't done a great deal of shading on this one. I wanted to keep it nice and simple for anybody who's new to it. But you can, if you're a little more confident, you can go into shading all the mushrooms up and things like that if you want to. Now, when I came to put this red on, what I didn't do, and I didn't realise till I'd almost finished the picture, was I didn't take the red right round to the stalk, which I should have done. For some reason, I stopped too early. So make sure when you put this on that you take just a thin bit of red right round to the stalk. But you'll see in the finished pictures that I did that, I went back and did that. And that's just my multi-punch tool that I've got there. It's just a handle with lots of needles in rather than just the one. It just makes it more, makes it quicker to do. So I've got some cream and a little bit of beigey colour mixed in together here, which I'm just going to darken down the cap bit. You don't have to do this, but you could just leave it plain, the colour that we put down originally if you wanted to. And the original colour is just a light beige, light cream. Just not white, really. But if white's all you've got, you can use that, that's fine. I was just searching for a bit of the brown colour that I'd mixed in with it. I didn't have a bit there. I really just wanted to make the underside of the cap of the mushroom a little darker because it would be in the shade. That's all I was going for, so however you achieve that, that's fine. And these are just going to represent the gills, I think they're called gills, of the mushroom. You can be really neat, you can put lots and lots in if you want to. You could vary the colour where I'm using a dark brown here. I could do some dark brown and some lighter brown lines. I'm just keeping it nice and simple, but you can get as complex as you want really. And then I'm taking the same colour that I've done the gills with, and I'm just going round the whole to outline it. Don't do it in black, black's too dark. So if you have a dark brown, then use that, or mix black with something, so it's not just a harsh black colour. Do let me know in the comments below if you think you might enjoy the variety that we're going to do. You know, if you found having the coaster one a little bit of fun, do let me know, because then I will carry on. I will keep looking for other things to show you, rather than every month I'm going to make sure we do what I call a proper painting, so that we've got a really nice picture for each month, which could take 1 or 2 videos to do. And then for the other 1 or 2 videos that are left, I will try and find something that's a little bit more variety for you. So if you have any ideas, anything you'd like me to have a go at making for you, then please, mention it below. Otherwise, I'm going to rummage and find things to make for you. So if you wanted to, you could just stop at this one mushroom, a toadstool, I think. I'm not really sure. If you didn't want to do that, see how it's starting to get, and I haven't got any backing on it. That's all. The stiffness there is just because of the amount of felting I've done on it. And now I'm just flattening down the edges a bit, just starting to make it neat and tidy around the edge. Just watch your fingers when you're doing this bit, or hold it between a couple of pieces of card or something like that. If you have an old cereal box, chop up a bit and hold it between those 2 pieces. Because doing this also shows me where it's too thin and things like that, and I can go and build up a little bit of the colour on there. See, that little bit there is a bit thin. So I'll just keep building it up. Because what I'm trying to do here, because I've used the base felt with the drawing on to show you, I'm trying to make sure that that's covered so that we don't actually see that pale greeny background colour. Because obviously you'll see the edges of this coaster even if I put the cork backing on it. And if you enjoy this video, please don't forget to give me a like and a subscribe, and share the video out if you want to. It does help my channel. I'm aiming to try and get 1,000 subscribers this year, and I'd love you to be one of them. So please do have a look and maybe subscribe if you're enjoying it. Thank you. I do also now have some links in my description for the grey mat that I felt onto. It's so good. I would buy another one tomorrow. It's fantastic. And a couple of other bits that I use, the needles and things like that. And also buy me a coffee now as well. So I actually do like my coffee quite a lot. I drink that all the time. But anyway, yeah. So I do have a few links if you'd like to have a look at them below, along with obviously the drawing one. I was tidying my wool stash the other day and I came across this, I don't know why I've got it, must have been from a advent calendar one year, a lovely sparkly pink. I wasn't even sure whether it would really felt very well because it's got whatever the sparkly bits are, they're obviously not wool, and I didn't know how well it would felt down, but it went okay in the end. So I have a sparkly mushroom on mine. If you're careful with your little template bits, you could make 4 coasters the same, just keep reusing it. The 4 coasters I'm planning on doing over the year, they will all be like part of a set, but I'm not going to do another mushroom one. They'll all be a similar kind of thing, so that by the end of the year you should end up with 4 that go together. Once you've got the hang of doing these mushrooms, I still don't know if they're mushrooms or toadstools, then you can add as many or as few as you like. So you don't actually need to necessarily stick to the picture I gave you. Again, I'm just putting the little gills in. This is a little bit fiddly, but just hang in there, you'll get there. I just use very thin bits and just keep stabbing them into a straight line, and they do kind of eventually come together. And again, don't forget to outline it. I put mine onto a cork backing, but you technically wouldn't need to use any kind of I'm talking about the final backing that you'll see that I stick it onto. You could not bother, especially if you haven't used a felt base drawn on like I did. If you've started just with the wool, you wouldn't necessarily need to put a backing on it. You could leave it as it is. Or, like I say, I found some cork backings in my local craft shop, but I also was going to try, I found some foam sheets in the children's drawing section of my craft shop. You could use one of those because they would repel the water as well. So there's varying things. I wouldn't use things like cardboard because if I do need to give this a little bit of a wipe over, I don't want the base to get soggy. So whatever the backing would be, if you use it, it just wants to be something that won't get soggy. And the mushrooms, obviously you can do in any colour you like. I thought I'd have a little pop of orange in the back there. And all I've done is put a little bit of yellow on the top of it and a little bit of red at the bottom, just to make it look round. Just a tiny bit of shading. If you have any fun colours, you could use those as the tops of your mushrooms. Even the one I've done in red, you could have been in purple or anything you like. I didn't mention as well that this coaster is 4 inches from side to side. It's about 10 Sorry, I'm calculating. It's about 10 centimetres, I think that is. Obviously I haven't bothered doing gills for these little ones because they're like the closed cap mushrooms. But there are so many different varieties of mushroom. You could have a look up and put completely different ones on if you want to do mushrooms. So as you can see, it's a pretty simple coaster to make. So the most important things are that you felt it down really well, so you end up at the final thing with a really firm coaster. And you can see how useful the cardboard template is. Just go around the edges like I'm doing here. Make sure it's basically the same thickness all the way around. Tuck in your bits, because obviously in my case I'm going to stick a backing on it, and make sure it's really, really firm. What I was doing was I was putting the coaster backing on to have a look, and then seeing if I needed to build up any areas around the edge like I'm doing here, just to make sure that the backing is covered so that you can't see it, basically is what I mean when I put the coaster down. So what I've done here is I've just taken some glue, put it all over the cork backing, and now I'm going to leave it to dry. I'm putting some heavy books on it, and I'm going to leave it to dry for a couple of hours, being squashed down. And that's just to stop the glue sticking to my lovely old books. And then I'll leave it for a couple of hours to dry and come back, and it should be done. And there you go. It's really, really nice. You can see how thick it is. I say that's about 1/4 inch thick. And it's really quite firm. And I think it was lovely, and I'm really pleased with it. There you go, I'll show you where I've done the red round to the bottom bit. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. And then all you've got to do is cut off the fuzzy bits that might be sticking out around the edges, and you've got yourself a lovely coaster. I hope you enjoy doing this one. Please do give me a like, share and subscribe below. Let me know how you get on, and if you join my Facebook group you can show me what you've done. I'd love to see it. Thanks very much, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye for now.